Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
What was striking to me was that there was neither anger nor anxiety about what they anticipated coming on Liberation Day, right? And I think the scope and scale of what happened on Liberation Day did exceed Beijing's expectations. I think they were ready and calibrated for tariffs more in the 60% range, because that's what Trump had said last year, and they had tracked that very closely. So the fact that it went all the way up to where we are now, 145, probably took them aback. But as Beijing itself has said in its public talking points, and I think this is true when you look at the economics of it, anything above 60% is kind of meaningless anyway, and it's largely symbolic, just because at that point you in effect have a trade embargo on China. It's just not profitable for Chinese companies to ship their wares or sell to the U.S. market anymore at that point. So I think that to the extent that they were surprised, it was more a question of quantity than quality. I think he cares, but I think he's made a calculated assessment that he's more willing to take the pain, right? And I think that she judges that China will have a higher pain threshold than the United States in this trade war, right? I think his calculation is probably that the U.S. pain threshold is relatively low. And I think that might be based even in part on our own last elections, where if you just looked at the numbers and the statistics, a lot of economists thought the U.S. economy was in pretty good shape, but clearly consumers and U.S. voters did not feel that way, right? And voted the previous administration or his party out of office. Right. And, I was just in China a couple of weeks ago, and I think we all know this already about their system, that there's not necessarily that same kind of feedback loop from the population in China. And we heard that very loud and clear. Business leaders may have been anxious about the coming trade war with the United States, but they're not going to register those concerns with the government. That's just not how their system operates. Right. And I think especially now that Xi is in his third term in office, he's even more powerful than he was during the last trade war. I think he has more latitude politically to ride this out at home.